you again. There you go.
Okay.
That's recording.
Okay.
Just let it run and I'll edit it.
Okay.
I'm going to go upstairs.
All right, here we go. We're ready for our 11. Is it 11 or what time is it? It's 12 o'clock. I don't even know. Hi, I'm Joe Cahill. Thanks for coming out to Comic-Con as we're having a good old time here in the Falls. I don't see any blue or yellow here. Do we got any blue or yellow? We got green. We got, I saw red. Oh my gosh. Anyways, we're so thrilled they're back with us here. Would you please welcome David, Yost, and Karan Ashley. All right. Ask them anything. Absolutely anything. There she is. Hey, baby, how are you? All right, I'm going to put this back up here and then get the heck out of your way, and you guys can just have some fun with everybody here. All right.
Perfect. Niagara Falls, what's up? Although most of you have traveled here. Where are we from?
Hi. Does mine even work?
Yeah.
So basically what Karen and I will do is just going to do a Q&A now. So if you have a question for us, like when are we going to block people? You just line up maybe like starting here, just kind of go back or wrap around that way. That means everybody has to ask a question.
That work? Questions?
Hey, Green Ranger, can you breathe? Just want to make sure.
No passing out.
I love those videos. That's so cool that they do that. So, all right. Does anybody have questions? You do? What's your question?
I asked you this yesterday, Saucy, again. How did you memorize the scientific words that Billy had to say? Were they real? And how did you best memorize them?
What do you mean, like a fully sentient, multifunctional automaton?
Automaton, yeah.
Yeah, I had to. I mean, it was just playing Billy was very exciting for me because he was so smart, much smarter than myself. And I would get the scripts and I would see these words and I'd be like, what is he talking about?
Right.
So I would have to get the dictionary out and I would look the words up in the dictionary. And then, sorry guys. Hey, it's the Red Ranger. It's all good. Sorry about that.
No
It's all
worries.
good.
Make an entrance, homie. We like it.
And then I just have to work really hard to memorize the words and try to make them sound somewhat normal. For me, anyways, for a human being. So, but yeah, good question. It was a lot of fun. And I learned a lot from Billy and all the technical words. Techno-speak, I think they used to call it. So, cool, good question. Anybody else have any questions? Go for it.
Have either of you seen the Power Rangers fan film?
Uh-oh.
What's going on?
I think what was the number? Was it 12 million views?
Yes.
We were one of the million. We were one of 12 million.
What's your sound of it?
You know what? I was entertained by it. It obviously was very high production. It was really cool. I thought it was cool. I thought it was great for, people of our age. over 18. But I mean, for me, it was kind of one of those things where I really enjoyed it as an adult, but then my second thought was, Power Rangers was always rated G. So that, it definitely wasn't for children. So I was happy for everybody who's for years has been like, I want something more edgy. You got it? It's like the evil cousin. But I thought it was cool. I love the fact that people are being creative and they're doing their own take. And I love that some people hated it and some people loved it. I mean, it's just what it is. So I like it. Overall.
I thought it was too violent.
It was very violent.
I just don't think Power Rangers would die by a gun. That's all. Just kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
And I don't want little kids searching Power Rangers and not popping up on their computer, and they'll see that. It's a little too much. But I thought the Black Ranger fight was pretty amazing.
Pretty amazing.
And I thought James Van Beek did a good job, and the production value was pretty astonishing. But yeah, it was good. I'm kind of neutral about it. It was good with 2 violent ones. So, but great question.
Another one?
Yeah.
How did you feel about sort of where they took the brief bit that we saw Billy in it and sort of the absence of
haters? I was like, hold on, why is Rocky there and I'm not there with him? No, it was cool. I mean, I'm not that, I am into myself. But at that moment, I wasn't that into myself to care. I liked that it got 12 million people talking about Power Rangers, over the course of a few days. So that to me was whatever. But I was surprised that, like you said, it was very violent. It wasn't the G rated, G extra cheese is what I like to call it, because that's what we love and what we all watch. So it was so shocking to me how crazy it was, but I wasn't surprised that it went that dark.
And in terms of Billy, I wasn't happy that they made Billy gay. Like they're playing that off of me as a person, so I don't think they're able to distinguish actor from character. So I mean, maybe they thought they were doing a thing for me, like, oh, that'd be cool if David would appreciate that. But character-wise, I don't find Billy that way, because Billy had like 8 girlfriends on the TV show.
Billy was like a back daddy.
Billy got around the block.
Billy was my first crush.
That's what I'm talking about, girl.
Green Ranger.
Thank you. Great follow-up question. So, yes.
Speaking of actor versus character, a lot of past Rangers are increasingly getting responsible, and you're actually partially responsible for this, for getting Amy Jo to reprise her Pink Ranger costume back in November. When our Pink Rangers were in front of the city camera. What actually, this is actually not a 2-part question, but what possessed you to actually kind of place bets on her, like, Amy, I dare you get in the suit, I dare you get in the suit. And second, have you guys ever considered, maybe just like for conventions or whatever, like for photo ops, whatever you name it, cosplaying your own characters one more time? You ever consider that by any stretch of the imagination?
I don't know. I mean, the second part of the question, I'll let you take obviously the first. But the second part, I think that there are some Rangers who do that, and I think that's kind of their thing. So I don't want to step on their toes and kind of do what they do. So for me, maybe one day, but I think we have fun and we give them the moment, and everybody really enjoys meeting us. We really take time to spend with the fans. So I don't know, maybe one day.
No, you won't say.
Never.
I won't say never, but I don't think you'd see me do spandex again. You never know. But in my head, I'm saying no. In terms of why I got Amy Jo to put her pink spandex on, it was just, she wrote a film, she's going to direct a film, and she was trying to raise money for her film, and I just thought it would be a way, because I know how much the fan base loves Amy Jo as the Pink Ranger. I just thought it would be a great way to get people to donate money to her film. So I said, thank you. I said, if you make a certain amount of money by a certain amount of time, which was a 2-week span, you got to put the pink Power Ranger outfit on. And we never thought that it would happen.
I love that it did, though.
It happened in 2 days instead of 2 weeks. So it's kind of funny. She had to go in downtown Toronto in a Pink Ranger outfit and sing on her guitar, and it turned out really good. And, she was happy to do that, and I'm glad a lot of fans got excited by that. So thank you if any of you donated to her film. She sent me, she's been posting pictures. She's been getting all the locations scouted for that. She's going to start filming next month. she was sending me pictures this morning about it, so kind of excited for her. So if you donated, thank you for doing that. Great question.
Nice.
Way over here in the corner.
Texas.
From Katy, Texas, all the way from Katy, Texas.
Yeah.
My friend here always know you guys do martial arts, but he wants you to, maybe after the show, try to do like some martial arts on him.
Like kick his butt?
That would be an honor, but I didn't say that, but that would be an honor. The best that's in the world, I don't care.
He wants us to do some martial arts on him. No, well, I don't think that Niagara Falls Comic-Con, if possibly something goes wrong, has the insurance to cover anything like that, so they probably don't want us kicking anyone or acting like they're going to kick someone.
Actually, I'm very happy to kick your ass.
But my real question was, I know that you guys weren't too in agreement with the Super Mega Force thing. I saw the episode, I'm like, I see why they didn't agree. It's only like trying to get a cameo. What do you guys consider down the road doing something like Jason David Frank, a fan film, something of your own for the fans?
I mean, if it's the right project. I think what happens is it just hasn't been the right situation presented to us. And so it's just one of those things where, you know, flying across the world to New Zealand and, I mean, really giving a week of your, you know, time, it's just really hard. So hopefully the powers that be at some point, you know, do the right thing and do it the right way, you know, and we're hoping that that happens for you guys, obviously. But doing fan stuff, I mean, I do Uncensored Talk. I feel like that's totally a labor of love. I have no budget, nothing. You know, the Rangers, you know, that come on and have talked with me and sat with me, we don't get paid anything. It's on YouTube. There's no money coming in. So, I mean, for us, that, I mean, they give up an hour of their time or they give up time to, at a busy con, to come and sit and talk Power Rangers. So that for me is something that I'm doing. I don't know if I'll do any kind of fan film thing. If we are able to do something, I hope it's the right situation. Like I've always wanted Saban to just bite the bullet, get us all back together, make it happen, and give you guys what you want. You know, and honestly, when the whole Super Mega Force thing, we knew it was a small part, and I feel like they've been talking about getting us back together for so long. Why would we, you know? This isn't the right situation. I wanted it to be what we've all hoped it would be. So that's me.
Go ahead.
I also heard rumors about Dino Charge. Is that true or is that just fan speculation?
Fan speculation.
Darn it.
They finished, I think, filming.
They just wrapped like a week ago.
Yeah.
So none of us.
Nobody.
Sorry.
I know.
Sorry to disappoint you.
I was hoping like the first female Black Pink Ranger and the first female Black Yellow Ranger. I was like, oh, that would be cool, but it never happened. We never even got a call.
What you guys doing?
Will we morph on him?
No.
No, I mean, I don't think. You want us to fight him? Is that really what you're asking us to do?
Pretend.
I mean, as fun as it sounds, and it does, I don't think it's probably appropriate, but it's a good question. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, who else has a question? Right here in the front row.
Could you talk about how the shooting schedule was like on the show?
Oh, can I ever? Yeah, I mean, it was really long, laborious days, typically at least 12 hours. Laborious. 12 to 15-hour days. So typically girls had to be there a little bit earlier, between 4:30 and 5:30 would be their call times. Guys were like anywhere from 5 to 6. And then we start filming like around 6:30 or 7 and go all the way to 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So it's long days.
Yeah. And sometimes at the end of that long day, you go over to ADR and do that for 2 hours.
ADR is voiceovers, like when we do the stuff over
Yeah.
costumes.
So long days.
When was choreography done? Before shooting the episode or right
No.
during?
No.
Right during, we would show up and like if we had a fight that day, they'd be like, okay, here's the part. You're gonna fight and do this, do this, do this. Okay, action. So it wasn't like a lot of, we didn't do a lot of practice. We just had to jump in and do it.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy because, I mean, for me, I wasn't a martial artist, I was a dancer. So it was like, go over there, you got 15 minutes, and like, you're like, so it was just a matter of learning choreography really fast. But yeah, there was no anything. It was really fast paced. But I love the fact that it was like that. When we went and did the movie, here we are, we'd go, and we'd shoot a scene for like 2 weeks, you know, it'd be the same scene. So it was a very, a longer process. But the TV show was like, quick. We did 4 to 5 episodes every 2 weeks. So really fast.
Yep, and so just adding on to that, we would shoot 4 episodes at a time. So every scene that would take place in the command center for those 4 episodes, we would shoot, and then we would move. After that, it'd take like 3 or 4 days, and then we would move to the next set, which would be the juice bar, and we would shoot every scene that takes place in the juice bar for that 4 episodes, and then we just kind of rotate around to all the different sets, and then go out on location and do all that. So it gets confusing because you're changing wardrobes for every episode, and we used to have to do something called turning the camera around, so you would shoot everything in one direction, and then you would come back and you would shoot everything in the other direction. So now with the cameras and not shooting on film, everything's digital. You can shoot multiple cameras now, so you have to do, it doesn't take quite as long. But back in the day, because we're old school, took a little bit longer.
And that occasional one, maybe twice in the whole time I was there, like they'd go, oh, we forgot to change her.
Yeah.
And then you have to go back and reshoot the whole scene because you didn't change clothes. It didn't match. So it was crazy. It was, and that was why sometimes people come to our table and they're like, do you remember this episode? Blah, 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 blah. And we're like, we honestly, I don't, everything is all crazy. You don't remember how it all ended or how, and I didn't watch them because I was afraid to watch myself. So it was just one of those things where I don't know. I really am you guys know more than me. Well, no. And it's I don't know how episodes were put together. It's all a blur.
Great question, and amazing teacher.
I love your teacher. Good show.
Yes,
to
right
listen on.
Do you guys prefer the spandex costumes, or do you prefer the actual movie costumes? We only did the movie for probably a few months, but.
I prefer the look of the movie, but I prefer the comfort of the spandex.
Ditto. Yeah, they were heavy. They were 35 pounds. Theirs were probably more because they were taller than us. And then on top of that, when we first tried them on, they felt like we looked like little boys, like we were linebackers. So they put a corset. Amy and I both had corsets in the back of ours. So it was heavy and it was awful. So, but it was the look of those costumes are amazing.
Yep. Good question. Yes, right there.
Was there a lot of martial arts or dancing involved in the audition process?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can tell your excuses.
Mine's more exciting?
Well, no, I'm going to tell mine too, but go first.
Yeah, when I auditioned for the TV show, our first 3 auditions were just based on acting, and they would just say, do you have this kind of a background? And I was a gymnast, so it was either dancing, gymnastics, or martial arts. I was a competitive gymnast for a long time in my life, and then probably around the 4th or 5th audition, they started having us. I just remember at one audition, they made all the actors that had made it to this one round. There was probably 50 of us. Go to a gym, and Haim Saban, who's the creator of the show, came and he sat on an exercise bike. That's all I remember. He was just biking the whole time we were doing our little things. And if you were a martial artist, you had to do a little martial art thing. If you danced, you had to dance. If you were a gymnast, like me, you had to flip around. And so that was sort of what helped us get the job, for sure. So that's sort of my story. Hers is going to be more exciting.
Well, we came on and it was they had a huge open call as well, but it was limited time. They auditioned for weeks. They put them through the ringer. With us, we went in and we auditioned, and then about 3 days later, they called us and said, can you fly out tomorrow and, come to LA and audition for the producers. But we literally had to put together maybe a 2-minute routine. And they knew that I was a dancer, and they basically said, whatever you did, they wanted you to add martial arts in there. So they were like, do your dance routine, but make sure there are punches and kicks in there and that kind of thing. But literally that day, when we auditioned for producers, we probably did it 3 times. We did it by ourselves. Then they brought us in, and it was they teamed us up. So it was me, Johnny, and Steve actually got teamed up, and we went in as a group, and we did our thing. And then we had to do it again, because they put us in another group. And it was just, it was a lot. But it was a really quick process. So in about 4 days, I was out of here. But yeah, definitely, they wanted to make sure you could move.
Good question. We're going to go over here and then I'll come back to you guys. Yeah.
What time is it?
It's time for molecular transmutation. And I almost was oh, it's 12:17.
Yeah. Lunchtime?
That was a good one.
That was a good one. We've never had that.
What? Right over here.
Were the talks of the new movie coming out? Are we gonna be seeing you guys on the screen together?
For sure. I don't know.
Yeah, if you guys all write them a letter and say, we will not watch it unless Karen Asher are in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, she makes a good point.
Yeah.
You know, you should write to Saban France, Saban International, whatever, and say we want to see the old Power Rangers, at least do cameos in the film. That would help. But yeah, I imagine they will ask a certain amount of people to do cameos in the film. We just haven't heard anything yet. I just know they pushed the release date to January of 2017. So they'll probably start filming, I would imagine, in this coming January.
Yeah, it's slow going. Yeah, it's one of those processes. I think it's like they're really trying to make sure that it's great for you guys. And I think one of the things that will make it great is because you, like you said, you know, people want to see the band back. Even if it is for something, you know, and I'm sure they've got a whole new idea. That's the thing with Reboot. It's a whole new cast, whole new thing. But I think if you guys let them know, they may put the band back together. Yes. You know?
You have a question too?
Yeah.
Did you guys keep any of your costumes or any props?
Only if you stole them, and I did not steal back then. Now, I will take everything. They probably don't want to invite me back because I'm going to take everything. I'm going to be like,
I stole my ninja outfit from the movie, so like the last day
I'm so angry at that. I'm like, why didn't you tell me?
Well, I wouldn't have stolen either. It just never crossed my mind to steal.
But guess who suggested it to you?
Kids over here.
No stealing.
No stealing.
Who suggested it to you?
Let's get into that. So Jason David Frank, on our last day of filming, he and I had to catch a flight to New York. And he's like, just take your outfit. They're never going to know. And by the time they do know, we're going to be on a plane way far away. So just stick it in your suitcase. I was like, dude, no, I can't do that. You just do it. So I did. I stuck it in my suitcase and it came with me. And it's still hanging in my closet right now.
So they have coffee over costumes, like Savant and Fold and stuff like?
Yeah, I mean, in the case of the movie, it would be 20th Century Fox. They would own all that. So I mean, they're not gonna miss. I doubt they miss it. And hey, if you guys want to go see my Blue Ranger outfit, it's here in Niagara Falls at Planet Hollywood.
Yeah.
So just go to Planet Hollywood, look up to the ceiling, and it's just hanging out.
Yeah. Make the trip to Orlando, and you can see the pink and yellow. It's in Hollywood Studios at like Disneyland Hollywood Studios. Yeah. So it's there. People send me pictures of it all the time. I need to go and take a picture and be like. I was there last year and I didn't do it now.
Do it this year?
Yeah, I'm going to do it this year.
Yes, right in front of us. Right here.
How close did you guys stay once you guys were done the show? Like, did you guys part and then really see each other when you have to, or?
You know, it's a funny thing because you spend more time with everyone than you spend with your family. So I think when I left the show, I kind of just unwind. I had to unwind from the year and a half that I was on, and it was just crazy. You know, it was like I think I had a month off the whole time. Like it was, you know, and that spread out. So it was hardly any time off. A lot of hard work. So there was a time we didn't see each other, and but it's funny. I think you were the first people I ran into. We ran into each other in an audition. And we would run into each other. Now the beautiful thing about doing conventions is that we see each other all the time now, like every weekend, you know, and there are some conventions that bring a lot of other Rangers, so we've gotten to meet other casts and gotten really close with them. But no, we didn't, I think Johnny and I stayed in touch because he and I was closest to him on the show, and but now I keep in touch. Me and Catherine and Aaron Cahill just had breakfast 2 days ago, so, you know, so it's one of those things, we do it now.
Yeah, and I always stayed in touch with Amy Jo and Jason David Frank. For the most part, we worked together the most. But I would see Walter here and there at different auditions, and he and I kind of kept in touch. But again, like she's saying, now that we're done the concert bit, we all are very much a family again. So we can talk to each other a lot. So
Brothers from other mothers.
Exactly. So way back here in the purple shirt. Yes, sir.
I know like on syndicated TV shows, like whoever's in front or behind the camera get like a check every time the show airs. Do you still get support in any way from someone anytime that something happens on the TV?
Oh, really? I get millions.
Yeah? Yeah, really gets millions. I get nothing.
We didn't get, no, our show was filmed on Union, so we didn't have any of those rights, so we get zero.
Yeah,
So,
$3 billion later.
Yeah. So Haim Saban, the creator, smart man, created the show the way they created. He's worth almost $4 billion now. So
Not including Cheryl.
not including what?
Not including his wife.
Well, yeah, not including his wife. What does that mean?
She's a child psychologist and does all her books and writing
Yeah.
and motivational speaking and all that
She's
stuff.
extremely intelligent.
Yeah.
Are you saying she has billions too?
I would assume that not billions. But
Yeah.
She's
She
good girl.
probably, I have one.
She's denied.
She had nothing to complain about.
Yeah,
She's doing
nothing.
okay. All right, good question. Oh, okay, go for it.
I'm sorry.
How did he turn into a kid?
I don't
I like that question. Good question.
From the kid episodes.
They actually gave us, well, should I give it to them?
I don't know.
Well, you know what happened? It's TV, right? So TV's kind of make-believe. It is make-believe. But what happened was we actually got like a week off. Was it like a week off or something?
I was the only one doing it. I was the
Oh, yeah. So the rest of us, we got a week off. And the kids came in and worked, and we got to go see our families and hang out with our families for a little bit.
But how did they turn into kids?
Yeah.
I don't remember. How did they turn into kids?
How did that happen?
They lost their
The
power?
first time you said, like, spun the clock back until you turned back to kids. The second time was like, you guys were at a carnival and Magic Wild was kind of like orb thing that like turned you back. Yeah, it was a magic spell both times.
Magic spell.
A magic spell.
Thank you.
And then Billy had to figure a way for them to become adults again, yeah? The PowerPoint thing?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
PowerPoint magic spell.
All right, over here. And then I'll come to you.
How has the experience changed from being the original fandom major experience versus now being to conventions? Like, how is it easier for you? Is it better? Or is it, how do you feel about it, I guess?
It's a little bit different because you guys were all like itty bitty kids.
Now you're all taller than us.
Now you guys are like taller than us. You can beat me up. So it's different in the sense that back then it was like crazy around the world, like Beatles type of popularity. Like everywhere we went, it was insane. And now you guys are just like really cool. And I should go back. Back then, it was more like your parents were the crazy ones.
You guys were crying, or you didn't want to talk. Like,
Yeah.
you were like,
You guys didn't want to talk to us, and your parents would like push people out of the way and get really violent.
They do anything for you.
Do whatever they could to get us
Fights,
to sign,
Walmart.
take pictures, or whatever. So, but now that we get to meet you guys are like really amazing, and it's super humbling to all of us because you tell us such amazing stories about how Power Rangers influenced your life. How you became martial artists, or you became scientists, or doctors, or teachers, or dancers, or whatever, and we just love to hear all those stories. So it's like 20 years ago, I never would have thought that I would hear stories like that the show would have such an amazing impact on people's lives. And so 20 years later, to hear those stories, it's been really more phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, to piggyback that, it's almost like such a blessing because back then it was so crazy and it was such a busy schedule that you didn't have time to kind of smell the roses, you know? But now it's like you've almost reintroduced it back into our lives, and it's such a beautiful thing to meet your kids, and you guys have passed it down to a whole new generation of kids that know everything about it. And it's just really cool. Like, it's just, and now we get to smell the roses, you know? We get to actually meet you. And like you said, the stories, I mean, the stories you guys tell us, how it influenced your life, we had no idea that it did that. And so we're so blessed that it did that for you guys, for real.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's right here.
So how and why did you guys eventually leave the show when you did?
How what? How
and why for each of you?
Mine wasn't as dramatic, but it was kind of the same thing. Like, it was, you know, like we said earlier, I mean, there were billions of dollars being made, and we were, you know, we didn't make very much, you know, and so I talked to them about possibly, you know, getting, you know, paid better. And so that was kind of going good, and then, you know, we got to the conclusion of I would leave the show, and I'd get 10 episodes to write me out, and, you know, we'd part ways, and, you know, everything would be great. The next time I went on set, that was my last day, you know, that's kind of how Saban worked, you know, so it was very Hollywood and very, that's just the way the business works, you know? So for me, it was, I was very upset with the producers. I never had any problems with my cast members, but I was very upset. And then I was also upset because the day that was my last day, I didn't get to even say goodbye to them. So it was years later that I finally got to see them and reconnect. So it was kind of a sad day for me, but you know, it was the best thing for me. I felt good about the decision, and I felt like I had done a lot of episodes. I had got to do the movie, and I felt like the situation was a blessing for me. So I walked away with that.
Mine's like a long, sad story. I don't know if I'm gonna make people feel sad. Please sad for me, maybe not for other people. But
well, I feel sad for them for being stupid.
Yeah, I
They
just
were amazing.
I left the show. I was on the show the longest, whatever, and I left the show because for years, for basically almost the whole time I was on the show, I would hear things in regards to rumors about my sexuality. And at that time, that whole time I was struggling with my sexuality, and it just kind of got to a point when I started hearing things that producers were saying about me, and it just didn't sit well with me, and I didn't want to keep going into a work environment where I knew that was going on, and it made me really doubt myself, and it made me really hate myself.
No hate.
I know, no hate, exactly, good buddy.
Yeah.
Yep, and but back then things were different, and the world wasn't quite as accepting as it is now, and so it was like I had this dark secret that felt really dirty and bad to me, and so I just chose to leave the show, and I just kind of walked off set one day. I how do I do this without saying the word, the F word, F-H-E. I said the next time I hear that said about myself, I'm going to leave. And I heard it, and so I just left during lunch one day without giving anybody any warning or anything like that. I just walked off the set, and that was the last that they saw of me. So they had to scramble to figure out how to write me off the show. And they used old footage and brought in a guy that was really old.
That's horrible.
And sent Billy off to another planet. I think the way that it ended for my character, I think it worked out great. I mean, I like that Billy went to another planet, married a fish.
Yeah. He made that part up. You married a fish?
Well, in the Aquatarmans, they're half fishes somehow.
Yeah.
So that was good. So I mean, for my character, it all worked out great, and I don't regret the way that I left the show. I think I made a statement. They threatened to sue me, and I was pretty firm in if they want to sue me, I told my agent, if they want to sue me, they can sue me. And then I never heard from them again. So that's the way I left.
That was like the only, I think, bad thing about Power Rangers was that they were very, even when we came on, I mean, obviously we came on replacing some people that had left the show, and it was, for what we knew, really fast and really quick and unexpected. So for us, it was just like, we always had that hanging over our head where they were like, well, they'll replace cast in a moment. They'll replace you. You know, and I remember sitting down, having a meeting, and, you know, them talking about me staying and figuring out a way for me to stay. But I had friends who had auditioned for my part already. So I knew that they'd already picked someone to replace me. So it was just awful. But, I mean, I think it's like a growing, like it's a learning curve. It was the good, the bad, the ugly, all wrapped in one. So, yeah.
Over here,
For Karan.
Yes.
Some of the credits that you put your name, it says Karan Ashley. Why is that?
Karen Ashley?
Ashlyn.
Oh, for a while, SAG. I joined the union, and the union, it goes by pronunciation. So there was a Karen Ashley, and so I couldn't be Karen Ashley because there was another one. And then my agent for a while was Karen Ashlyn, just to kind of get me, because it was like, you gotta work tomorrow, so we gotta list something. So we just added me into it, and then they worked it out. So it was just a union thing. So, but of course, it stayed like that for about 6 months. But yeah, same thing. SAG accepted my pronunciation.
Was there something in the back there? Yes.
Yeah, I was just wondering, since both of you guys have been on such a popular TV series, have you guys become writers or producers yourselves? And the other question is...
we both produce, right? We've actually worked together.
And the other question was, what do you think about children's programming today?
That's a loaded question. You know what? That's the funny thing. I think when you're in the creative space, that's a natural place to go. For me, I wanted to be a producer or a writer, not because I really had in the beginning, I didn't really have a huge passion for it. But as a minority actress, there's just not a lot of parts, you know, or there's just not a lot of things. And so I was like, a friend of mine one day said, well, why don't you write something for yourself? So I started to do that, and I've been very blessed to produce a couple of films and, you know, to write some cool stuff for myself. But then I got into like writing things for other people, because it's just a matter of being creative, and I found that I love, you know, creating these stories. And but children's television today, I mean, I think it's enjoyable, but I really loved how Power Rangers was so innocent. Like, I feel like that needs to be protected. I think people have kind of gotten into a place where they want the adults to be, you know, entertained, or they want to sneak in little jokes. And I just think that I love the fact, I want to keep kids kids. Like, if I had a child, I would want them to stay as young as possible, as long as possible. Because once you go and cross that line, I mean, there's no turning back, you know? Once you're an adult, you're an adult. It doesn't turn off, so. So that's my only beef with it, but I mean, there are a lot of things out there that I love, that I think people are still being really creative, and that's my main thing. I love creativity.
Yeah, actually, Karan and I, she wrote an amazing sitcom, and I helped her produce the pilot for that.
Helped me, like, tremendously.
Yeah, it was very funny, and hopefully Grow Up Already is the name of it. Maybe it'll show up someday.
Yeah, then we'll work together as a producing team.
She's very creative and very talented. And then after leaving Power Rangers, I've worked behind the scenes in television a lot as a producer and a location manager.
On a lot of shows, you know.
What?
A lot.
On a lot of reality shows. Yeah. I don't know in Canada, doesn't it?
Oh, no, we have it.
Oh,
got it.
I'm sorry. So reality shows and some scripted comedies as well. So I've done that, and I'm currently, I've been writing a web series for myself, and I've been working with some stand-up comics and some stand-up comedy writers on that. So we will see what happens by the end of the year with that.
I hope that comes out.
I hope so too.
That's the first time you said that.
Well,
you know, you keep things about me.
Trying to keep things on the DL.
DL?
Yeah, because, yeah. So, but hopefully it'll turn out good. I've been fortunate enough to work with a production company that deals with a lot of very well-known comedians. I don't know if you guys watch Children's Hospital. Good. A few people. Thank you. It's won a couple Emmy Awards, Creative Arts Emmys, and then another show called NTSF SDSUV, and another show called Newsreaders. Those all air on Adult Swim on Cartoon Network in the United States. So those are some of the shows that I've worked on.
This is like kind of like, it's like Canada, America. Like, it's so close.
It's like, well, very close, but it doesn't make a different TV over here. So then I worked on a show that was on the E! Network called Burning Love, which is like a comedy spoof of The Bachelor, which was really fun. I did 2 seasons of that. So I've been around the block. As far as children's programming, you know, I kind of agree with Karen. I think innocence being brought back to something would be great. That's probably a good question. Thank you. Yes.
Was there any practical jokes done on the set?
You know who did them.
Yeah.
We already know. You're wearing his color.
Do we just want us to sit and talk about JD?
We love Jason.
Obviously, yeah, Jason David Frank.
Oh.
Biggest pain in the butt. But
King of the practical joke.
King of the practical jokes is very funny.
He had a way of breaking up that 15-hour day.
Yeah. So he would do a lot of crazy stuff that would make everybody laugh. I mean, yeah.
We were pretty tame. We were all pretty professional. And then Jason Frank would do something, and we'd be like, Jason.
He would just do crazy stuff. I mean, like, I know you guys, a lot of you know about him putting a fly in my sandwich. So we all know that story. It's pretty gross. I was stuck on set, and I couldn't get off set, and I was starving, and he was like my best friend, so I thought. He's like, oh dude, I'll make you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I was like, oh god, thank you.
And that was the food of choice, by the way.
That was the food of choice.
We love peanut butter and jelly.
So he made me a peanut butter jelly sandwich and brought it to me on set, and I ate it, and then I just see him over in the corner snickering, laughing with a bunch of people. I'm like, what? He's like, dude, I stuck a fly in your sandwich and you ate it. Cool. So It was funny for everybody else.
Yeah,
It's not
it was
really
awful.
funny to me.
And literally, like within a day or two, like we were shooting a movie in Australia, he made the entire Australian crew hate us because like he had a water bottle and he'd wet his hand and go, and he'd throw it in the water. And every person that walked by, they were like, they couldn't say nothing to us because God forbid you can't yell at the Power Rangers. And he literally did this all day long. So they hated us. And the only people who knew were the makeup team. So they were laughing with us. And I was just like, man, this is bad, man. We're gonna like find rats in our dressing room. I mean, something bad is about to happen.
Yeah.
So he always did crazy things.
He was the practical joke.
For sure.
Did you get enough Jason Big Frank talk now?
Is your cup overflowing?
Sleep better now tonight. Yes, over here.
Karen, I know that I've heard, rather, I don't know for a fact, but I've heard that you and Johnny were really close back in set days.
Yeah.
I don't know 100% about this. Maybe you could reiterate a little bit.
Sure.
I heard Johnny was in a rough state and you had helped him out at a point.
You know what? We really looked out for each other because we were really young, like super young, like literally graduated high school and maybe 2 months later we're on a TV show. We moved from Texas, so we went through that whole phase of like, you know, not being, I mean, we'd never been away from home that long and not missing our parents.
Saban paid really importantly too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was funny because they gave us like a set amount. Like it was like, okay, here's like a couple thousand and get your apartment. But it wasn't enough money to like to eat or to like, you know, have a blanket. Like it was like, okay, we got an apartment, but where are we sleeping? And luckily for me, my family, like, you know, a friend of mine was like, I'm gonna drive over there. And so he literally went from Dallas to Odessa. He like stopped in every state and like picked up furniture. So I got a couch, I got a bed for my sister, I got a, you know, I mean, everybody donated something. So here I have an apartment and I have a whole slew of things. And Johnny, I was like, after the first time, I was like, oh my God, are you so excited? We have our own apartment. And, you know, how was your first night? And he was like, I was freezing. And I was like, what? And he was like, I was freezing. And I was like, why are we freezing? And he was like, well, I had to sleep on the floor. And I'm like, what? You had to sleep on the floor? And then he was like, I didn't have a blanket, so I just wore 2 sweatshirts. And I was like, I walked into his apartment, and there's nothing in the apartment. So he had no blankets, no pillows, no. And so I loaded him up. And it was like, here's $100. And, actually, I went upstairs and was like, he's starving, he's low. And I'm like crying. And so we all got a little bump to help us. But yeah, no, it was just crazy. But it was like those things you don't, if my parents or my family wouldn't have done that for me, I wouldn't have gotten anything. So.
Because he credits you to have saved his life.
Really?
Yeah, I had asked about, I had posted
we saved
and
each
asked
other's
about that,
life.
and he said he didn't think he'd be around if it wasn't for you. So.
Aw, he's way too sweet. We really, I mean, there were times I was so sad because, I mean, I come from a family, there's 5 sisters, a brother, you know, my mom, my dad, my cousins. I mean, it was like every weekend or every day I'd go eat dinner at my sister's or I'd go eat dinner at another sister's or like I'm the baby. So honestly, we saved each other. There were so many days I was like, Johnny, you want to go to a movie? And he's like, yep. Johnny, you want to go to Target? Yeah. Johnny, you want to go get our cars washed? Yeah. It was like, I mean, literally, we did everything because we were just so lonely. And we lived, I mean, here was my apartment, he was right there, across the courtyard. So,
that's awesome.
we saved each other. And Steve was in there too. Like, Steve was like, come on guys, we can do, like, he was like, Steve just was worldly by that point. He, you know, nothing faced Steve. He was like, let's go party.
He's still like that.
Yes. Yeah, he was a fun bunch.
Good question. Yes.
Funny stories since leaving Power. So the funniest one that you can think of that happened in your personal lives since leaving Power Rangers, like probably the last like 10, 12 years, something like that.
There are kids in there.
But you can tell for the kids.
Like in our life?
Well, yeah, like for like what you guys were doing in later lives, your show, like you guys were producing
together or just on our own personal life?
Yeah, in your personal lives or professional, like that's just you like when you look back, you go, oh wow, that was really funny. And
I think I must have a really boring life because I can't think of anything funny. I must not laugh a lot.
I think there are times that there are certain shows that they'll bring out a ton of us. And I mean, if that happens, there's a family dinner, And like, it's literally, there have been times we've been able to sneak away and we've been able to go and hang out on our own. No managers, no fans, no nothing. And now those have been the best times. And there was one time in Lexington, Amy did her first con, and we get text messages, and she's like, meet me in my room at this time, where, you know, I have a bottle of wine. And literally all of us showed up, and we were just in there for an hour, just talking. And I don't know how I talked her into going to the club with us, and I'm not even the clubber, but I was like, go to the club, and we all like, and then it was funny, we go to the club, and we're just like, and at the very end, we're taking pictures like we had this amazing time, we're like, yeah. So we were so bored sitting on the couch the whole time. But no, those are the times that I cherish. And I think there was another time in Sacramento, Johnny and I hadn't seen each other in like 4 years, and it was Johnny, Steve, me, Catherine, I think Jason and Arby, a bunch of people were there, and we just had a great time hanging in a hotel room by ourselves, that kind of thing. So, yeah.
David, is it true that Billy was originally supposed to be the Phantom Ranger, and it just never worked out that way?
Is the Phantom Ranger the Gold Ranger?
No, he was not.
The one in the black.
That's
at the,
With the red ruby.
Oh, yeah,
line
yeah.
and stuff.
That's all rumors. Billy was never meant to be that. Billy was just meant to be an opera.
You know what's cool about Dan Sapworth though? Dan was at the audition that Steve, Johnny, and I were at when we auditioned. So for me, I was at Morphicon one year, and I was like, oh my God, like I totally remember Dan. Dan was the nicest person. We were all in a room, and they go, okay, you, and you get the part. The rest of you, pack your bags, go home. And like, we're like, yeah! And then we realized there were people crying because they didn't get to be Power Rangers. And Dan was one of those people, and he'd walk right up and he was like, I'm so happy for you guys are amazing. I'm gonna take you to dinner tonight. And I mean, he was just a really cool guy. So later, for him to be the Phantom Ranger was like, it blew my mind, but he kept auditioning until he made it on the show.
Yeah,
so.
He's done that for a long time, and then he finally made it to being a Power Ranger.
Very cool.
Yes?
So, before you after about just to make sure, during your audition process, you said that there was an actual time where you didn't actually know you were going to be Power Ranger, you just knew that.
Yeah.
So, when you actually found out you were going to be a Power Ranger, what was your reaction to sort of the concept, and how long did it really take you to really wrap your mind around what the show was?
Well, I kind of knew what the show was. I didn't know what it was, but when I went to the audition, there were literally thousands of people in Dallas lined up. And then later I found that they were in Dallas, they were in New York, they were in Atlanta, they were, I mean, literally all over LA. And I didn't know what it was, but standing in line, people, they knew, you know, the show was a hit. And they were like this one guy, like I was in line for probably 3 hours. He told me everything from A to Z in that 3 hours what the show was, so I was very prepared. But it was still a mystery. Like they didn't want to tip their hat too soon, so it wasn't until we flew to LA that we knew we were auditioning to be certain colors or certain, you know, we knew, I don't think we knew the colors, but we knew we were potentially could be Rangers. And I mean, I think it just happened so fast for us that I was just like so happy. Like I had wanted to be an actress for as long as I could remember. And I was just so happy. I didn't even wrap my mind around the fact that I was on a hit show. And it was like, okay, we have the contract, sign it now. And it was like, okay, you're on a hit show, and you're gonna get to do a movie. And then I was like, oh. And so it was just a lot. So I think it took me a little while to meet them and just be on set and go, wow, this is big, yeah. It wasn't until really the movie came out and we did this whole press thing for like a couple, 1 week or 2 weeks or something, I don't know, that it was like, oh my gosh. We got to experience that crazy stuff that they've been experiencing. So it wasn't until then that it really sunk in, like, I won the lotto. Wow, I got the golden ticket.
You're not asking me that question.
Well, I was wondering what your answer would be.
Oh, well, I mean, when I first auditioned for the show, it wasn't even called Power Rangers, it was called Dino Rangers. We didn't even have a concept of what any of the martial arts, superhero people were, or anything like that. They never discussed any of that. So we just thought it was like a show about people in high school. And that was kind of it. You know, the way that they did it, they were like looking for weird types of characters that could do martial arts, gymnastics, and dance. And it wasn't actually until we started filming the original pilot that we started understanding, oh wait, we have to put on spandex? Wait, we're talking to some guy in a cylinder? And something about dinosaurs? None of it made sense. And then when we saw it cut together, we were like, oh, okay. And then...
Walter has the best story. He said he showed it to his family, and they were like, oh, good luck with your acting career. Good luck to you. I mean, we hope you get something.
Yeah, the original pilot was really bad. Really bad. But, you know, Fox wanted it no matter what. I mean, they ordered either 40 or 60 episodes right off the bat. So we were like, once that was picked up, we were in the gun. But, and then it got changed to the name got changed to Power Rangers. It's so weird when I think about, like, it wasn't called Power Rangers, and you hear the theme song about, you know, Go-Go Power Rangers, like, Go-Go Dino Rangers. Like, if you think about, like, in the beginning, all the names that it could have been, it's interesting.
Well, aren't they Dino now? So it's maybe they just went back to the original.
I did, but it wouldn't have worked
at
all.
There's so many things that are crazy. Like, when I got my first script, my name was Tanya, which later they used it, and then I think Steve was something else. Like, it was a weird name.
Was it?
Yeah, it ended up being a Ranger name. I think they had a list of Ranger names.
Yeah, and in the original pilot, well, before we went to film, like Austin's character, instead of Jason, his name was Victor.
Which ended up being a name. Did they use it? Remember Victor,
yeah,
the Ranger? Or was it, maybe it's a real person named Victor?
Yeah. So, and then he became Jason. So it's funny, all the changes. But that's a good question. Thank you. Does that answer it?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, over here.
What was like the weirdest fan experience you ever had?
Well, I have a good one. I hope she's not here.
Right, I know. I was working if she was here. I heard the story.
I'm sure some of you have seen this maybe on, if you watched the other videos, but a fan had come up and asked me to sign her pants. And she laid her jeans out for me, and the whole crotch was wet.
Somebody was a little excited.
I think she was too excited, maybe to wait in line, and she peed her pants, and then she gone and changed, and she still brought those pants up. She wanted me to sign those pants no matter what.
Dedication.
So she brought those pants up, laid them out, pee everywhere, asked me to sign her jeans. And I did. I went for it. So yeah, that's probably the weirdest that I've
I know, I think we have one that we share.
Really?
There's one. Well, we were in Pensacola, and Florida, and a guy comes, and he had already had you and Walter. They had signed, he signed his butt. And he was going to go to get it tattooed. So they signed it the year before, and then he and Austin are there, and they're like, and these guys, it's like Walter Jones, like half the booty. And he comes with his kids. His kids are there, and so he sends the kids around the corner, and so me and Austin have to sign under them. So it's like, and we're like, I can't believe I'm signing someone's butt that's about to go get it tattooed, but and their signatures are like probably this way. And it was like all butt. So we're on somebody's butt, like all four of us. I was like, where are you gonna put Jason Frank?
Jason Frank will be the tramp stamp. But yeah, it's shocking to me how many people have asked us to sign their bodies, and then they literally go that day and get it tattooed permanently on their body.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. But
I can't believe it. I try to talk him out of it, but I want to talk this guy out of it, but he was already a year in.
Yeah, he's you, and then we'll go to you, and then we'll probably make you our last question, okay? So right here.
David, you said you were previously a gymnast. You had aspirations of going to the Olympics when you were younger?
I did. I definitely did. I was getting pretty close to it too. I think to at least trying out for the Junior Olympics, which then take you to the Olympics. But then my family ended up moving to California. I was living in where was I? Montana at the time, and that's where I was doing a lot of my competitive up in the Northwest region. And then my dad got transferred to California, and when that happened, I kind of became a bad kid.
I like it.
No, I started hanging out like with people that were into like Metallica and like just real heavy metal. And nothing wrong with that music, I like it, but I started, oh, there's kids. I started smoking, doing bad stuff. And so that, I don't know why I chose that path, but I did, and it kind of took me out of gymnastics, which I regret a lot.
And he would sneak away though and go to auditions.
Well, yeah, that's true. Like I always wanted to be an actor more than a gymnast, and so like when my parents were paying thousands of dollars a month for me to be a gymnast, I would not show up to gymnastics practice, and I would sneak away, take the bus downtown, and I would audition for plays. And so I would be doing plays where my parents thought I was actually going to gymnastics. And I was spending thousands and thousands of dollars.
Don't do this at home.
So don't do that, but it was more in me to be an actor. So thankfully, Power Rangers came along and it allowed me to sort of do my last hurrah as a gymnast. So I got to be a gymnast on TV. So that was kind of cool. So good question.
Yeah.
All right, and we're going over here.
At any point during the filming process, did you guys get a chance to actually like watch or review the Japanese footage? And then later on, have you ever met any of the Japanese actors that played the same role?
Yeah. No, we didn't get to watch it then. Like they didn't even want us to watch the old episodes because they really wanted us to. Well, coming in replacing someone, they were like, we want you to just do your thing. We want your character to be completely different from their character. So they were like, you know, it was really nice for them to let us kind of play with it and figure it out. So no, we didn't. I think I saw a little piece like at one point. But it wasn't until we got older that I actually saw it. And last year at Power Morphicon, the original Red Ranger joined us, and I was like gonna interview him. So I was like, oh. So I watched their first episode. And then in Lexington a few months ago, I actually sat down with the original Pink Ranger, Yellow Ranger, and the Black Ranger. So I did a Uncensored Talk, my web series. I did an interview with them, so you can see it on YouTube. But yeah, no, it was great. They were so amazing. And we'd ask how they, you know, had they seen us, or like YouTube, well, you know, so they'd seen it online, and so they were very familiar, and fans were so warm and invited to them.
Did you guys kind of share the same stories with that then? Or?
It was funny because interviewing them, a lot of their stories were similar. You know, they were very young. They kind of just went in, you know, dealing with the fame. I mean, it was very similar, the stories, and some of them are really close. But they have different casts because some of them were a lot older, and then two of them were a lot younger. You know, Boy and the Pink Ranger were a lot younger. But it was funny sitting with them. They were really charismatic. They didn't speak any English, very little. And we just figured it out. We had a translator, but we communicated. So you should watch it if you'd like it.
Okay, last question, but we are not going to fight your friend.
We are not.
Okay.
Understood?
Yes,
You need a minute to think of something else back.
I have a question. Yeah, you don't have to answer it though. What would you have to come if you weren't casted?
Say it again?
What would you have to come if you weren't casted to Power Rangers?
What would we become?
Yes.
If we weren't actors?
If you were Power Rangers.
Power Rangers. I still would have tried to be an actor. Like I really, really wanted it. I've done a couple of commercials. So my plan was always, I was going to college like a month. Like I think it was, I don't know when I think it was, I forget. But anyways, then maybe a couple months later I was supposed to start college. So I wanted to do it, but my plan was to start college, do my basics, and then I was going to go to UCLA. I was going to become, you know, go to film school. Like I was going to do whatever I wanted to become a filmmaker or actress. So I would have done it in some sort of way. I would have been a producer or something if I couldn't have gotten on camera.
I just would have been a housewife. I would have been happy to do
A desperate housewife.
Kids and kick back and have somebody take care of me.
Chilling.
Just kidding.
You're like, aw.
I probably would have become a lawyer. I think. I'd be a great lawyer.
Yeah.
I'd be amazing at that. I know how to fight the fight. Yeah, the wrong kind of fight. But well, we want to thank you guys.
Yes,
hold on,
thank you.
let's do a little sidebar real quick. Sidebar done.
Yes.
All right, so you know, if you have to come to our tables yet, please come to our tables, take pictures with us, get autographs if you want, just say hi to us, shake our hands, hug us, we love all that. Sorry, we're having a sidebar.